welcome to our YouTube channel. So, as promised, we have starting with the fourth chapter of the book Monk Who Sold the Ferrari, written by Robin Sharma. Chapter number 4: A Magical Meeting with the Sages of Sivana. After walking for many hours along an intricate series of paths and grassy trails, the two travelers came upon a lusty green valley. On one side of the valley, the snow-capped Himalayas offered their protection, like weather-beaten soldiers guarding the place where their generals rested. On the other, a thick forest of pine trees sprouted, a perfectly natural tribute to this enchanting fantasy land. The sage looked at Julian and smiled gently. Welcome to the Nirvana of Sivana. The two then descended along another less traveled way and into the thick forest which formed the floor of the valley. The smell of pine and sandalwood wafted through the cool, crisp mountain air. Julian, now barefoot to ease his aching feet, felt the damp moss under his toes. He was surprised to see richly colored orchids and a host of other lovely flowers dancing among the trees, as if rejoicing in the beauty and splendor of this tiny slice of heaven. In the distance, Julian could hear gentle, soft voices, soft and soothing to the ear. He continued to follow the sage without making a sound. After walking for about 15 minutes more, the two men reached a clearing. Before him was a sight that even the worldly wise and rarely surprised Julian Mantle could never have imagined. A small village, made solely out of what appeared to be roses. At the center of the village was a tiny temple, the kind Julian had seen on his trips to Thailand and Nepal. But this temple was made of red, white, and pink flowers, held together with long strands of multicolored string and twigs. The little huts, which dotted the remaining space, appeared to be the ostry of home of the sages. They were also made of roses. These were made of roses. Julian was speechless. As for the monks who inhabited the village, those he could see looked at Julian's traveling companion, who now revealed that his name was Yogi Raman. He explained that he was the eldest sage of Sivana and the leader of this group. The citizens of this dreamlike colony looked astonishingly youthful and moved with poise and purpose. None of them spoke, choosing instead to respect the tranquility of this place by performing their task in silence. The man who appeared to number only about 10 wore the same red-robed uniform as Yogi Raman and smiled serenely at Julian as he entered their village. Each of them looked calm, healthy, and deeply content. It was as if the tensions which plague so many of us in the modern world had sensed that they were not welcome at this summit of serenity and moved on to more inviting prospects. Though it had been many years since there had been a new face amongst them, these men were controlled in their reception, offering a simple bow as their greeting to this visitor who had traveled so far to find them. The women were equally impressive in their flowing pink silk saris with white lotuses adorning their jet black hair. They moved busily through the village with exceptional agility. However, there was not the frantic busyness that pervades the lives of people in our society. Instead, theirs was so easy, graceful, kind. With Zen-like focus, some worked inside the temple, prepared for what appeared to be a festival. Others carried firewood and rich embroideries. All appeared to be happy. Ultimately, the faces of sages of Sivana revealed the power of their way of life. Even though they were clearly mature adults, each of them radiated a childlike quality, their eyes twinkling with the vitality of youth. None of them had wrinkles, none of them had grey hair, none of them looked old. Julian, who could scarcely believe an exotic vegetables, a diet that he would later learn was one of the keys to the treasure trove of ideal health enjoyed by the sages. After the meal, Yogi Raman escorted Julian to his living quarters, a flower-filled hut containing a small bed with an empty journal pad on it. This would be his home for the foreseeable future. Though Julian had never seen anything like this magical world of Sivana, he somehow felt that this had been a homecoming of sorts, a return to a paradise that he had known long ago. Somehow this villages of roses was not so foreign to him. His intuition told him that he belonged here, if only for a short period. This would be the place where he would rekindle the fire for living that he had known before the legal profession stole his soul, a sanctuary where his broken spirit would slowly start to heal. And so began Julian's life among the sages of Sivana, a life of simplicity, serenity, and harmony. The best was soon to come. This brings us to the end of chapter number 4. The magical meeting with the sages of Sivana.